Welcome to Secrets of Stand-Up Comedy. I'm Richard Francis Williams. I'm going to tell you everything I know about stand-up comedy so you can be the best comedian that you can possibly be. So for today's video, I'm not going to string you along and, there's a lot of where people make the videos and they don't tell you till the end, so you watch the whole thing. I'm just going to tell you right up front, but I want you to listen to my reasoning because at first it seems like common sense. The number one thing you should be focused on as a comedian, whether you're starting out somewhere in the middle or a very famous comedian, that thing is to be the funniest you can possibly be. Makes sense, right? The problem becomes, that sounds weird. I'm editing as I talk. That's what I do when I'm writing. The problem is that we often get sidetracked with our goals, what our purpose is. For example, instead of worrying about being the best comic I could be, I started worrying about, can I MC my home club? Can I get booked on these other shows? I started using comedy as a way to get things. Instead of having my main focus be as funny as I possibly can, be original. Those things were important to me. I did focus on them, but stand-up was like a stepping stone. And it worked. I got really funny and I got a lot of those things, but I didn't, because I was serving two masters, one trying to be as good as I can be, and the other trying to get money, fame, the attention of women a lot of times, or for an agent to see me and really like me and want to sign me an agent or manager or get a job, my focus would shift. And so I would rely on the material that I knew worked and do it at certain times when I should have been developing new material. If you are funny enough, if you are the best possible version of yourself, you'll get those opportunities. We live in an age now where you don't have to move to New York or LA. You can be, quote unquote, discovered on the internet. Being discovered now, it's always meant the same thing. It's getting enough fans that are willing to buy a ticket to come see you perform. And there's an old method where you would need to do stand up on TV or get some kind of fame that way through Hollywood and show business so that people would even hear about you. You have the internet now, and I'll go more into this in another video. But with the internet, you can develop a whole fan base. But what does that require? You have to be the best comic that you can be. That should be your sole focus. Because if you are in your hometown, your home city, or a place that you move to, and you are consistently killing at open mics or at shows, word's going to get out. People are going to take notice. If your stuff is online and it's really good, people are going to seek it out. Look at Shane Gillis, for example. So you probably know the story, but for those of you who don't, he got hired to be on SNL as a performer. Some critic went through his old podcast, found things that he considered racist, and Shane was canceled. He got fired due to public pressure from SNL like the next day or maybe a few days later. Something like that happening, especially given the time frame when there were all these mobs trying to get rid of comics and find anything they could to cancel someone, Shane could have packed up and went home and chosen another profession because it didn't look good for him. I don't think anybody saw where he would be today back then. But the guy's funny. He's so funny that he couldn't be stopped. Now, whether you agree or disagree with what he had said, if he made amends for that, or if he even should have made amends for that. I'll put all that stuff aside. Just look at him as a case study. He's at the top of his game right now. And every time I see him, he has incredible material. Whether he's on stage, even when he's doing podcasts. Some may say he's overexposed, but for me, he's not, because every time I watch him, he's interesting and he makes me laugh. So that comes naturally for some people. Other people, like you and me, we may have to work at it a bit harder. Like, I know no matter how hard I try, I'll never be my favorite comic, Norm Macdonald. I'll never be better than Norm Macdonald. But that doesn't have to be the goal. I can be the best version of me and still have success. I've proven it. Even without giving the best version of me, because I was taken away from stand-up or didn't have the time or energy to do it because I wound up getting gigs writing for TV shows. So that took up a lot of time and took my focus, and I was really good at that. I was great at that. But I would always put stand-up aside when these other opportunities came up. And there was room for me. There's room for me to make it, whatever making it means for you. Don't get too hung up on the contest you're signing up for, or to start headlining the room that you've been featured at. When you go in there and you blow the doors off the place and the crowd loves you, you'll start getting more opportunities than you expect. So if you get discouraged because something doesn't go your way, or it's easy to blame, well, these people don't like me, the booker or other comics have sabotaged me. That may be true. I don't know. But think of it as, I'm just not ready yet. And I can control how ready I am by writing, by coming up with new material, by talking into a phone recording my voice in my vehicle and working on bits, and really putting in the time and effort and sitting around with your friends and coming up with ideas, working things out. Don't push it off anymore. What I tend to do is I'll get an idea in my head as opposed to somewhere else. I like when people say that. I get an idea in my head, or I'm thinking in my head. Yeah, where else are you going to be thinking about it? But I'll get a premise or a joke, and I'll go, okay, I'm going to write about this later. Why not write that right now? Why not do it then in the moment? Because I tend to sabotage sometimes, or I get lazy. But try that approach. If you don't get something, just say to yourself, I'm not ready. Because there's a lot of times where when I first moved to LA, I would see other comics, and I've talked about this on here before, my peers that would get these crazy opportunities like the Montreal Just for Laughs Comedy Festival. They were doing New Faces on that. And that could make your career. You could get a $500,000 development deal off of one set. I knew a guy that happened to. And some of my friends who got it, I was like, I'm funnier than them. I'm better than them. They don't deserve this. And the truth was, I wasn't ready for it. If I got those opportunities at the time, I would not have been ready for it. I don't think I'm ready for it now. I still have so much work to do to improve as a comedian. So be grateful for the opportunities you do have. Keep working. Eventually, people will catch on. But you have to be good enough. It's not a race. Here's another thing. I'm kind of going off the top of my head here. Another thing that I found is when I did get big opportunities, I delivered. Like, this whole thing isn't for me to put myself down. I'm very funny. I just got sidetracked with some of the other things and focusing on that instead of being the best possible stand-up comedian I could be. But when I did the Comedy Central Premium Blend taping, they showed like 4.5 minutes of my stand-up. I did it. I was nervous prior to doing it. But after I did it, I didn't feel like I made it. I did stand-up on television on Comedy Central. The next day was just another day. It was the whole thing about doing comedy is the experience from start to finish. It's not just about those gigs. Because trust me, when you start doing the bigger gigs, they're just other shows. Sure, initially it may have this big impact on you, but I remember complaining. I was doing warm-up for Last Comic Standing. I did it for the first 6 or 7 seasons. And I'd perform a couple times a week. Oh, here comes Bingo. Bingo and Willie are doing great. I perform in front of 500 people during the day, and then I could do stand-up at night. But and they were a hyped crowd. They were excited. And I was like, I don't really want to do this today. I mean, it's crazy. You start getting spoiled with some of these opportunities. And now I look back on it, and I'm so thankful that I had them, and I did enjoy them, don't get me wrong, but sometimes I've had more fun in an open mic or doing a guest set somewhere for 8 minutes. So if you don't like coming up with material, this may not be for you. Learn to love that. Learn to love the 2-hour drive to go get 5 minutes of material. Okay? Make your focus being the best version of yourself you can be, the best comic you can be. I don't think Gilbert Gottfried is the funniest comic who ever lived, but he's the funniest Gilbert Gottfried. Okay? If you want to do a one-on-one private session with me, email me. It's $75. We'll talk for an hour. You send me your material, video, your written material, either one or both, whatever you have, and we'll go through it. If it goes longer than an hour, it usually does. There's no extra charge. That's it. I'll see you again next time.